A day in the life of Mau Shrivers, athlete, reporter, dog mom, daughter.
Healthy today. What about tomorrow?
You can never be sure.
Wow, what's your forecast for the future?
You should always be ready.
Your life and health protection, retirement, and future. Build a better tomorrow with EastWest Ageas.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of BusinessWorld One-on-One in partnership with EastWest Ageas Insurance. I'm Santiago Arnaiz, the publisher of tech-focused news site Multiverse.ph. For this edition, I'm talking to one of the top executives in the Philippine insurance industry, and we're going to be getting his perspective on the current insurance market, his long-term vision for the firm he serves, EastWest Ageas Insurance. Coming off from Ageas Portugal, Sjeord Smeets joined EastWest Ageas Insurance last year, first as its country manager and then as the firm's current president and chief executive officer. Prior to this role, he served as the chief underwriting officer for non-life, then as chief risk officer for Ageas Portugal between 2016 to 2022. Mr. Smeets, thank you very much for joining us today. Really excited to have you.
Thank you very much, Tiago. I have you in our office. Pleasure to meet you.
Earlier, you were talking about your career spanning different countries across Europe. You mentioned Russia, Belgium. When was the first time you arrived in the Philippines? What was your first point of contact with the Philippines?
I think it was early 2022 when I did a first visit to understand this country and how it is to live here, etc.
And how was that experience for you?
It was interesting because I always try when I go to a country, I like to visit places that have a bit more culture, etc., and really learn how the locals are living. So we said, okay, what's the most interesting part of Manila probably to see? So we went to Intramuros. So we thought that somehow let's do that in a nice way. Let's take a jeepney. And as you have already saw, I'm 6'6". So actually sitting in a jeepney was not so comfortable, I have to say. I had to protect a little bit my hat.
So Sjeord, you've built an impressive career across the insurance sector, across various roles. Could you tell me a bit about your journey to get here, to your tenure here with EastWest Ageas Insurance?
Of course. Actually, when I studied econometrics, and I never actually intended to join the insurance sector. It was more by coincidence that I came in contact with one of the top insurers in the Netherlands. So I joined them more or less 20 years ago, and I've actually spent all of my career in insurance. So the first insurance company, I started to work there as an actuary, and I got a lot of contact with foreign countries that we're also operating. So I really liked that international context.
Yeah.
After 5 years working there, I actually moved to Russia, where they had a branch, and I became there the chief actuary of that company. So I did that for 3 years. I set up their practice according to European standards. So we did really well on pricing, reserving, capital management. And then I was actually approached by a headhunter to join Ageas. So I joined Ageas approximately 11 years ago.
You mentioned that you never had any real intention to get into insurance before leading essentially multiple firms in the sector. I'm just curious, what initially drew you? Maybe you can expound on that. You touched on it earlier. What initially drew you to insurance? And then maybe were there any moments that kind of shaped, or stories and anecdotes that shaped your approach to work, your quite unique approach to the work that you do?
So I really liked, honestly, when I started looking for a job, I came in contact with this big insurance company in the Netherlands. And there's one thing that really triggered me. Their tagline was crystal clear. Meaning that everything from the communication to the customer, from the development of the products, even to internally, so even the employees of that company, when they went for lunch, they paid with their own credit cards without anybody checking that. So it was really overall trusting employees and trusting customers, and that way really giving trust to everybody. And when I rolled into that sector, so when I was young, insurance was not a very sexy sector. People wanted to work for the oil companies or the big banks. And I think over the years, I've realized that actually the sector where I'm in working today, insurance, is very critical. It has a very big purpose. And we speak a lot about ESG nowadays. This is very social. This adds a lot to the environment. And actually insurance really makes the economy actually move. If you look at non-life insurance, if we would not be able to insure, for example, accidents or big cargo trucks, there would be a lot of disruption in the economy. If you look to health, if you look to the innovation that happens, it's for a big part actually paid also by insurers. And if we look to life insurance is there really to make sure that families can actually support each other in the case that something happens. So I really enjoy this sector because it adds a lot of value to the society. And what you mentioned is what really resonates with me, that crystal clear mentality is what I take everywhere. I really our products need to be very customer centric, easy to explain. Our financial advisors need to give trusted advice in a clear way. And we are really trying to shape the industry based on that.
What do you feel does that international experience bring into your practice here in the Philippines?
The insurance world is a global world, and the products that we actually serve in many countries are quite alike. But if you look to the Philippines, there of course are cultural differences. It's about the way to market things, the details of the products that you need to adjust. And if I look to my career, I've been in many countries experiencing different sets of commercial perspectives, technical perspectives, IT and efficiency, because actually in our sector, it becomes a lot about IT driven to simplify the customer journey. And all of those experiences you can actually bring here.
So since stepping in as CEO, are there any trends or characteristics about the local market that you've observed? And maybe pulling from your experience globally, how do you see the local market evolving from here?
It's a very interesting question because I'm Dutch from origin, and I think the Netherlands is the country with the highest insurance density in the world. We have on average 20 insurance products. When I came here and I looked at the life insurance sector, it's actually very interesting to see that the life insurance penetration is only around 2% of the market. So there's actually a lot of people that don't have life insurance, and they're living and managing their money in the here and now. I think the biggest issue that I see here in the Philippines is indeed the level of financial literacy, the understanding of it, but also that has to do, of course, with income levels. But it's something that we really want to work on, and that is actually quite critical. So what we are doing a lot now is creating programs on financial literacy, mainly through digital means, that we can reach out to more and more customers to start understanding that life insurance might not be the first need, but you need to start thinking about what is your ultimate goal in life. Start initially financial planning, which includes savings with a bank account and other types of ways. And as a second step, indeed, insurance, really to deliver on the protection and the long-term investment perspective that there is.
Every company faces their own unique set of challenges and opportunities. So from your perspective, 1 year in, what do you see, or how do you see EastWest Ageas navigating these opportunities and challenges, steering the company towards success in the near future?
I think our challenges are not so different actually than the general insurance sector. I think we have the macroeconomic situation. There's still uncertainty about China. We have a couple of wars ongoing that actually impact financial markets. And in our sector, financial markets are very important. But how to navigate between dropping equity prices and the way that you look to long-term investments. It's about creating the perspective about where is insurance really about. It's really getting to the heart of the people, because in the end, it's about the protection that you want to have towards your beloved ones. I saw it in my direct environment. A critical illness can lead to really a lot of disruption in the family. And our products are really there for those kind of situations. So how can we create that mindset within the Filipino population? So it's a lot about creating our content in a way that we can reach more people to start to understand this and grow awareness about how getting insurance is really peace of mind for the long term. And then I think, like I said, it's a lot about how can we connect better with customers, and how can we, in our case, build our brands. Because brand awareness is a very important way for people to understand that you're a reliable company. We can communicate that our parent brand is 200 years old, but in the end, they want to understand who's the company. So we are building the EastWest Ageas brands to get more presence in the markets and better understand.
Maybe could you give an example of, let's say, an innovation or a new product or service that was born out of this collaborative decision process?
I would probably say our last product launch, which was Life Essentials. It's a critical illness product. Critical illness you don't actually see in Europe. You see it really in Asia. So it's an Asian product, really fit for this market. But with the way that we work, we indeed worked on looking to what are the critical illnesses that we have. How do we commercialize this? So the marketing story is really linked to the Filipino provider as well. And then with the backup of the Western way to look to the risks that we have there. because we're still in insurance. So it's about risk management versus customer availability and protecting the customer. So that's a trade-off that we are making in the way that we operate.
In addition to the new products and services, there are a lot of movements happening in the past year, I understand, here within EastWest Ageas, not least of which the number of tech innovation that you're bringing to the company. Could you expound a bit on that?
Yes, I think that was actually one of the critical things that we did this year. We actually changed almost in 1 year our complete core system, which is front end, so which are the ones that are facing our consultants, as the complete back end system, and we did it in 1 year. I think that's quite a unique experience, actually, and we are now even one of the finalists of the Digital Insurer. It's an organization that looks to IT transformation. We're one of the finalists in that aspect. The reason that we did this is that we believe that IT is quite core into our operation. IT facilitates the easiness to deal with our company. It also makes that if your IT is really well structured, you can launch new products way more quickly. So this is very critical for us going forward. And all of our systems today are in the cloud. It's completely API driven, which means that if we look in the future towards ecosystems, and those will come more and more, we can easily connect and we can try to put small ticket insurance products into digital platforms, which means that you can attract more of the Filipinos. And like we discussed before, financial literacy and affordability is a topic. So you can go with smaller products to this population that doesn't have the spending power to take the more expensive products. Well, you cover them for very critical needs. So I think this IT platform is very critical on that. On top of that, of course, we are looking to other things, like indeed artificial intelligence. That's an area that we always need to be a bit careful, because if you look to the market, there are situations that people use, for example, Gen AI, and their code has become publicly available. So you don't want that as an insurer, because we're dealing with very sensitive data.
Right.
So we are checking together with our parent company, what can we really do in this perspective? It will, at this moment, never involve personal details of customers. But we, of course, are already using that in building better marketing materials, checking sometimes some codes. And we are now looking towards chatbots and even voice bots to interact with customers, which has a very big advantage. Because, for example, we try to do for every new customer, we do a welcome call. Just to understand how they like the service, if they really understood the product that they bought. It's a kind of customer service to them. But actually, with the current way of dealing it with the humans that we use today, you cannot always reach the customers at the optimal time frame. If you use a voice bot, that would make things much easier to communicate at different time slots as well.
Across digital transformation, there's this push and pull of teching up or staying human, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what I found across a lot of leading companies, and it seems true here as well, is that the investment in technology is really to streamline operations in order to allow you to focus on the human component and let the data and the numbers speak for itself.
The IT needs to lead to the fact that our customers find us a better company. If they would not find us a better company, we would not make that investment, because we don't want just a low cost to serve. We are there really, like I said before, we want to be the relatable company. And you can only do that if you value really the human interaction.
Right. So now I want to dive into artificial intelligence. You brought that up. Are there already artificial intelligence or let's say AI support systems in place here at EastWest Ageas?
At this moment, no. So we are analyzing what we can do, and I think in 2024 we will definitely launch a couple.
I suppose it's safe to say that you see artificial intelligence playing a real role in this industry, in the industry of insurance, in the near future.
Yes,
I mean, we see it in every sector.
Just for example, we have our financial advisors that are selling in the shops, in their agency. They have questions. What are they doing today? First, they check with their colleagues. Then if they don't have information, they make a call to the insurance company. It's easy to make a kind of database where you can have artificial intelligence. They ask the question, they immediately get the answer. And as these questions are normally quite alike, you can actually start populating with these questions. So you can actually get a kind of buckets of information that can be shared internally. And we really simplify a lot of processes.
Absolutely. So in addition to artificial intelligence, are there other emerging technologies that you're actively exploring within your group? Maybe you see Web3, for example, playing a role in the future of EastWest Ageas?
it's interesting that you mentioned Web3. I'm not actively involved on that, but actually I understood that we actually have a worldwide working group on that to understand how that can impact the insurance sector going forward. At this moment, we are not doing anything.
I definitely see the appreciation for grassroots perspectives, the appreciation for diversity, echoing even in the personal side of being in the Philippines.
For example, when I go on holiday and if I'm somewhere in the Philippines, I try always to visit at least also a bank branch to understand, okay, how does it go there? What's the reality there? And that gives additional learnings, and we bring that always back. So when we meet our agents or our bank employees, we actually listen to them, and that feedback, that's very important for us to improve products. And I know that me as CEO going to people, they will never really put the unbiased opinion. It's very much filtered. But still, you need to try and reach out to them to get that feedback.
I'm just really curious with the advent of tokenizing identity, right? Allowing individual customers to be able to own their identity. Do you see that unlocking any future products or services, or enhancing the existing customer journey at EastWest Ageas?
It's an interesting question. I never thought about it before, actually, but I can see that when you would do that, it would, for example, for retirement planning, it would make it very interesting for a customer to use that kind of technology, have their own feature or something where their information is with their assets. And if they then don't like the provider they have today, they can take it from one provider to another one and move around in the financial system. So I think there are definitely opportunities.
Interesting space to explore.
But it's an interesting space to explore. I agree.
Okay, so when we talked about Web3, we talked about artificial intelligence, the emerging technologies like these really kind of blow up the horizon, right, of what can be done. But something else that I noticed here at EastWest Ageas is that there's a real concerted effort towards not just what can be done, but what should be done. And so I see a lot of investment in diversity, investment in ensuring that ESG is in the DNA of EastWest Ageas. Maybe you could talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so ESG, I think in Asia, it's now upcoming. It's less established than in other parts of the world, but here I definitely see now a real trend towards it. And the sector is really moving into that direction as well. And it's actually common because we already, if you look to the origin of this sector, it's all about purpose. It's about making sure that people have financial stability, and insurance is about pooling. So you pool the risk of certain events happening. And then when that happens, there is financial stability. So we started from that origin, but then we also look to the fact that we are a life insurance company. We have a lot of assets of customers being given to us to manage that. And we should manage that in a way that supports also the future of the planet in total. So asset management is very important. And we have very strong exclusion lists for certain countries, for certain types of sectors that we don't invest in, to make sure that we need benefit for the future. You see companies more and more working towards to ESG investments. So part of life insurance contracts is also investment contracts. And we have certain types of investment funds that already are partly ESG rated. We will actually next year launch an ESG fund to make it even more apparent and to make it really a push for customers also to say, okay, do you really want with your funds to contribute to the society? So that's one part, it's the investment part. I think then you have need the part of diversity, giving women also more chances. So equal opportunity to everybody, let's say. So I think in this company, that was even another point because we have more women here employed than in certain other companies. Salary base, that's also equalized. I think we still have a challenge to get more women on our board and potentially our manco to get more balance there. Because that's something that we do believe in. I think there's a difference in perspective for men and women, and if you put them together, it really creates new insights. It creates different discussions. We definitely want to focus on that. And then it's the social component. So how much can we actually contribute to the society? We have already been doing a couple of events there. We did, for example, a golf clinic with one of our agents in Pampanga. With that, we actually improved a local school there. We are soon with the management committee going and paint also some houses in poor neighborhoods. So we really want to rally all of our employees towards these social causes. And this I think will actually start to increase more and more. That's a trend that really is there. We want to be social. It's in the strategy of Ageas as a group. it will be embedding that locally as well.
Are you going to be joining the group painting the houses?
Yes, I'm almost honestly the first one to go there. I really want to do that. I think, especially when you're a foreigner, you want to contribute something to the society. I know that there's a lot of income disparity in the Philippines. So if I can contribute to at least give some people better living, I would definitely like to do it.
Yeah, and I think you're going to be very useful getting the higher, hard to reach places.
For the hard places, I'm very good.
Absolutely, yeah. You can pick some people up as well. Get the roof. Looking forward, what is your big picture vision for EastWest Ageas?
So EastWest Ageas today is the number 12 company in the market on new business. Everywhere where Ageas is present, we want to become a more relevant player in the market. So we want to really grow. The way we want to do this is, I think we want to stand out in customer centricity and the relatability. We want to be a company that's easy to communicate with, that has a quite good speed to market and also a very good answer speed towards our customers. But we want to stand out on the financial advice. You don't really buy life insurance products online. You need actually to have advice on where you're aiming for, how do you want to reach there. And I think our financial advisors and consultants are very critical in that perspective. So we really want to train them to become top-notch and that they can really confront our the customers with what are really their needs and potentially even hidden needs, so that they become really aware of their financial situation. Because in the end, we are there to protect the future of the society. And I think the Philippine society will go to changes that we've also seen in other countries, that we become more individualistic. Today you see families taking care of each other, etc. But the younger generation is already less on that. So we really need to create that kind of awareness for insurance.
Right. Looking forward, what strategic pillars do you see being crucial for the long-term success of EastWest Ageas?
So our pillars are quite in line with, again, our mother company. We are doing always a 3-year cycle of strategy. And in this cycle, it's really focused on customer centricity. It's about growing the core. And in our case, that's really growing with EastWest Bank as our partner and with the agency channel that we started last year. Then it's about digital innovation. Without digital, like I mentioned before, you cannot survive. Digital is today a crucial component of delivering the best products at the right time towards the customer. And integrating more and more also social and environmental topics. As an insurance company, we have a lot of investments. We cannot stay out of that part. So the ultimate aim of EastWest Ageas is really to grow. And to grow, we need to have brand presence. So as we just rebranded our company last year, we're doing a lot of effort in promoting the brand and making that more visible to our employees and to customers. And actually, I'm very happy that I got yesterday the results. We measure on a continuous basis Net Promoter Score, which shows how well customers can interact with the company. And this year, we more or less doubled the score. So it really shows that the company is really moving in the right direction. And I'm very optimistic that this will be actually the big game changer for EastWest.
You touch on a lot of really, really interesting points there. One, this mantra that exists in many sectors, but is very true here of needing to do well so that you can do good.
Yes.
Like doing well as a company, looking at speaking on the bottom line perspective, in order to continue doing this good work. And thank you for spending this time with us. Be sure to follow BusinessWorld on all our social media pages and also on YouTube to be updated with all of our latest content. Once again, my name is Santiago Arnaiz, and this has been a special edition of BusinessWorld One-on-One in partnership with EastWest Ageas Insurance.
A day in the life of Mau Shrivers, athlete, reporter, dog mom, daughter.
Healthy today. What about tomorrow?
You can never be sure.
Wow, what's your forecast for the future?
You should always be ready.
Your life and health protection, retirement, and future. Build a better tomorrow with EastWest Ageas.